Welcome to the Featured Anime Podcast. I'm your host, Jack.
And I'm Rick.
And today we are talking about the Unlimited Hyoubu Kyousuke, which is actually not the full name. The full name is Zettai Karen Children, the Unlimited Hyoubu Kyousuke. And
I always thought it was Kyousuke.
Kyousuke? I mean, you could say Kyousuke. It's if you want to. I'm not going to judge you. I'm just going to say Hyoubu because that's easier for me.
Fair enough.
Originally came out in 2013, and its genres are action, superpower, supernatural, shonen. I would definitely say this is very sci-fi on top of that, and
I'd say futuristic as well. Maybe even alternate future.
Alternate future, alternate history, future. It definitely covers all those grounds. And the publishing, or the licensor anyway, the publishing studio is Sentai Filmworks. TV Tokyo is a producer of it, which
makes sense given the production value.
Indeed. I mean, TV Tokyo is, as one of the producers, you honestly can't go wrong because they have such a long list of great
awesome
shows.
Yeah, I was going to say, whenever you see that logo, you're like, oh, it's going to be a good one. I just know it. And when it's not, which has happened, it's surprising. So that's a good.
Honestly, at the start of this show, I didn't know quite how to react because it starts off with our main protagonist, and he looks pretty young, and he is wearing a school uniform, which he does call attention to, and everyone constantly comments on.
Yeah.
Of him being a total badass. He's just completely destroying anything and everything of opposition wise just to go to jail. And his comments are when he's finally ready to surrender, when he's decided that he has caused enough damage and destruction that he reserves the right as an ESPer under international law to remain silent and the right to wear his school uniform.
Yeah, it's funny because he nonchalantly in that battle, when he's just wrecking everybody, you can tell how serious he is about the fight after he eats a popsicle and he gets a little bit perturbed that it's not a winner. He's like, and he throws it away like you would throw away trash, but it lands inside of through the windshield of a helicopter and makes it explode. And you're like, oh, don't get too mad, sir. He's flipping tanks over like it's nothing. So, I mean, you're led to believe he's a rather strong ESPer. So, and the fact that everyone else is surprised by this makes me think that, ESPers are not necessarily strong. They might be known about and they might be widely accepted given his ESPer law, international ESPer law thing. They're just not that strong typically.
Well, the thing is not everyone is like him. And in fact, they showcase or talk about the unique abilities of all these different ESPers all the way throughout. Some of them have the ability to hear super long distances and throw their voice like it's nothing. Others are teleportation, conjure up fire or lightning, or pick your flavor as to whatever else there is. Heck, there could be one out there for turning your tongue into a snake for all we know, and then you have some real problems. But the show as a whole, it's really just a spin-off off of the main story of Zettai Karen Children. And this is just a main or a part of the story who they decided to take a focal point, Hyoubu, who was a side character of that main story, and just really flesh him out and give him a personality more in depth and just go into more detail about him as a whole, as well as discover and talk about his past, which apparently he's like 80 years old or 90 years old.
Yeah, he's fairly old. But going back, I didn't know there was a different anime this is based off of.
Yes. Yeah, the Zettai Karen Children is the main show. Like this is what this is based off of. And the people that he was referring to as the queen, if you remember.
Yeah, the children.
They're actually the main focus of it.
Really?
Yes.
That's kind of interesting. I wonder if we would have a different perspective if we would have seen the main show first.
And that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that we would have a different perspective had we seen that first. But alas, we didn't. We decided to just jump in feet first right into this one, and we're just going to roll with it despite the mega plot points and issues that I have with this.
There are no issues. There are no plot points. And if you do see them, they're just illusions.
Not illusion. Okay. The whole premise of this show is to prevent a premonition from happening. Not just one, but two. One of them is to prevent the Queen of Catastrophe, which is the ship that Hyoubu is on with all these other ESPers that he has saved, to prevent that from sinking. Right? So you have this group called Babel going against his group, P.A.N.D.R.A. All right,
Pandora.
to try P.A.N.D.R.A. P.A.N.D.R.A.
Oh, I thought it was Pandora.
No, it's P.A.N.D.R.A.
That
And
makes sense.
they're going against them to capture them and arrest them to prevent the ship Queen of Catastrophe from sinking, which is Hyoubu's ship. But there's also the U.S. government has a spy that's infiltrated P.A.N.D.R.A. who is the only guy, Andy. He is the only one that has the ability to negate all ESPer powers. And that's his ESPer power, which is unique because his eye is a different color. And when you're looking at it through a CAT scan, it's a different material, I guess, too, at the same time.
See, I took the way that for being an implant.
It could have been. I mean, like they pulled him because he had that different color eye to begin with.
Well, his whole
That's
thing,
why he was recruited.
He was recruited because he lives neither in the ESPer world or the human world. In the human world, he's different, so they ejected him. In the ESPer world, he's not strong enough, and he's not able to activate his ability, supposedly. So in that, he was rejected from there. So he's independent of both.
Well, he rejects it because he hates ESPers because of the power and how they treat him, because his power is to negate power. But he also says he has two different abilities at the same time. So one's to null the magic that's coming at him. And if he touches someone, it will seal their power.
See, I always thought he had a different power, too, that was never really expanded on. Because if you'll notice, when he's fighting hand to hand, he's like, when you're first introduced to Andy, he's fighting hand to hand in a ring that he's like, I really don't want to be here. Everyone's calling him a loser, even though he was going 7-0 throughout his whole fight career.
But the thing
up
is,
until the point we meet him,
he's got military training in hand-to-hand combat. And
but when he throws a punch right before it connects, his eye glows and flashes a little bit. And it's like he's doing something, but it's never explained.
That's true. I wholeheartedly agree. What happens? No one knows. I won't know unless they have another spinoff of the Unlimited Andy, which doesn't sound quite as great, but whatever.
The very limited Andy, I think, is what they mean.
That's true. So those are his two main powers, at least the ones that we know about.
And he's got a GPS installed right above his eye that, for some reason,
microchip
is allowed. Microchip. Well, it's also a GPS
and a communication device, and who knows what else, because it had a wheel in the eye, so you could see like 4 or 5 different things going on there. All right. So who knows what the hell that was?
Is it possible that's one of the things that he was accessing when he was like, I don't know. It'd be kind of cool. I wish they expanded on that. Like, oh yeah, just take the GPS function out, and now I'm a super badass, like, laser out of the eye killing machine.
So we discussed the first premonition, which is the sinking of the Queen of Catastrophe ship. The second premonition that everyone's trying to prevent, at least the U.S. side of it, hence why Andy was brought up and why he infiltrates P.A.N.D.R.A, which is to prevent ESPers from rising up against normal people and just demolishing them all. And
in an epic fashion.
In a very truly epic fashion, which Hyoubu constantly refers to one of the children that you meet as queen, and her name is Akashi.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I was going to say it's on the tip of my tongue, but yeah, Akashi. And Akashi is fairly powerful in her own right. She's able to fly, fire, pyrokinetic, lightning. She's a jack of all trades.
She is the female version, except supposedly more powerful in the long run, eventually, than Hyoubu.
See, it's kind of weird though. I'm thinking the stronger they are, the more abilities they're able to access. Because Hyoubu and his counterpart, the equally old lady who's his elder sister, essentially, they use the same ability to look young but still be old as hell. Basically, they Wolverine themselves.
With the exception being that Hyoubu is technically dead?
Yeah, he was shot in the head.
And in the chest twice.
Yeah. Well, he was shot in the chest twice. He got a promotion and then he shot in the head.
No.
And
he got shot in the head while getting the promotion at the same time. So everyone on the Queen of Catastrophe ship referred to him as Major.
Yeah. Because that was his title upon death, essentially. So it's probably a little bit confusing why he died in the beginning. But halfway through the series, essentially, they start replaying his childhood. What led him up to for 2 episodes. And I was thinking they'd be filler, and they weren't. They were really, really well done, informative, but not wasting time, I guess would be a good way to put it.
It gave a different viewpoint as to his upbringing and why he's called Major and why he has such a viewpoint of the Queen of Catastrophe and everything else. You also learn that because you see a flying squirrel that's talking, has a bolt in the head and everything else, that's able to do ESPer attacks, psychokinetic waves.
But only is able to attack. That's the only ability he's got.
Well, aside from being able to telepathically talk to others, I mean,
okay, fine. He's got 2.
you learn that there's dolphins that were part of the U.S. military that are also telepathic with ESPer abilities, and one of them had the ability to do premonitions.
And that's the one. So in this flashback, you see 3 dolphins running, and one of the dolphins is torpedoed. That dolphin brain is the one that's responsible for the premonitions.
And they keep the brain alive in this giant, well, not giant, but a big metal construct that is integrated with the ship, Queen of Catastrophe, which allows the ship to draw on other ESPer powers that allow it to disappear and to fly. And not just fly anywhere, but fly into a alternate dimensional portal that allows them to be cloaked.
Invisibility, and it's awesome.
It's a giant yacht flying through the air with the power of a dolphin brain.
It's a yacht flying on the power of thought. If that's not a cheat, I don't know what is.
I honestly couldn't tell you if it was a cheat or not.
Well, what's kind of cool is they actually explain how the excess power is gathered. All the ESPers on the boat are fueling this brain, essentially. It's taking all of the abilities and making them into better abilities that they could not do individually. But unfortunately, it's not for attack or defense. It's only for the ship's manipulation of time, not time, but space.
Sure. Why not? We'll roll with that. There's another main character, the lolly of the group. She's a little girl, and her name is Yugiri. And you find out that she's actually a clone with juiced up ESPer powers.
Yep. She went out of control, and basically she was the strongest of the clones, I think is what they're alluding to. They never say that right out.
One of the things that always happens is he does this little mantra, his little hand flails around, and he's got this little limiter thing
showy
on his collar, and he's like unlimited, and he turns the little dial on there so it unleashes his power, and he's able to go full on ESPer. And then when he's done, he does his little hand movement, gestures around, and he's like, time eternally stops, and he spins it again, and his power is sealed. And why he has to do that every single time he wants to turn off the limiter is beyond me, because Andy has a limiter. Andy doesn't say jack squat. He just turns it, and then he moves on about his day. No, Hyoubu's got to sit there and do a little hand gesture and movement and turn it into a giant show.
Oh, he's very showy. I will admit,
yeah.
he's flamboyantly showy, with a slight lolly complex, I would say. But yeah, no, he goes, he does the unlimited, and he flips it, and like, I don't know, his power up, because that's essentially what it is. It's a power up, releasing all of his power. Did you ever figure out the reason for that?
Yes.
I think I know, but I don't know for sure.
So the reason why he keeps the limiter on is because it helps restrain the power to keep it from going completely out of control. And it's what his mother died from. His mother was pushed by his father to go beyond as far as possible, to draw on as much power as possible until it actually killed her. And so his father made Hyoubu for a number of years live as a normal person, and he didn't want him to utilize his power.
Yeah, I can see that. His father was originally researching ESPers, trying to learn from them, trying to understand them, because I think he thought they were the next step in evolution, that kind of thing. And he wanted to try to incorporate and make them less of a pariah, less of an outcast, essentially. Because for some strange reason, even if a child ESPer, helps you find your child, you look at them like they're diseased and they're plagued, and you run from them, which is kind of messed up.
Yeah. And they also comment that they can't really be killed normally because the Hyoubu got a bullet to the head, and the only thing that is there is a scar from where the bullet hit. And they comment that the only reason why he was able to live is because he's an ESPer. And they comment this a couple of different times, including for some of the other sub characters where their house got blown up and their mother or father or whoever was there died. But then you have an Apache attack copter right there aiming at like a 9-year-old going, there's no way she could have lived unless she was an ESPer. Let's just use some rockets and take her out. Overkill much?
Yeah, I think maybe, but I think the reason for that is the ESPers would instinctually save themselves whether they wanted to or not.
Anyone would instinctually save themselves whether they wanted to or not. It's called,
I know, but because they had
it's called human nature. It's called wanting to live and not be murdered.
True. But because they're ESPers, they have the special ability to, I guess, be more durable by blocking stuff themselves psychically, because they can use stuff as shields.
Or whatever else that may come up.
Fair. Whatever, but I think that's why they're a little bit more
durable,
resilient, let's call them. Yeah. But when it came to Major, he actually got shot in the head and the bullet penetrated his brain. And he was, according to what the anime was showing, he was what looked to be functionally dead. And then his abilities reversed that somehow. Because there was blood spewing from his head and everything like that. And his blood goes up, and
they do say that he died. Unlocked. Yeah, no, he even says that he died. Why he's still alive, I don't know. I mean, like, obviously his power's about to kill him anyway, so it's kind of a moot point right there, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think his power, I don't know, because where would he have gotten the limiter from if he wasn't able to control it even a little bit, you know?
He got the limiter because he had it specially made because his power kept going out of control, or he knew it was starting to go out of control. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe the older you get, the less able you are to handle it, you know?
I guess. But on to the main course.
The meat and potatoes.
Meat and potatoes. The premonition of the Queen of Catastrophe sinking. Now, my whole theory on this is that it could have been prevented had they not tried to prevent it from happening. Just throw that out there.
Everything that they're trying to prevent, they're actually forcing to happen because they're trying to prevent it. I 100% agree.
So I have a theory here. All right. If you wanted to prevent something from happening, lay it all out. If I were to go do all this stuff, see if the premonition changes. And if the premonition changes, then you have your answer. It's like, I'm going to do all this. Touch the dolphin brain. Okay. Yes. Give me your dolphin brain juices. Okay. Perfect. The premonition is the Queen of Catastrophe. That little girl is going to destroy normal people. Okay. I'm not going to do anything that I just laid out. Touch dolphin brain juices. Good. Oh, look at that. It's not going to happen now. Yay, team.
Seriously, though. But I do have a question. If you take a look at that old man, and it all cycles back down to this old dude who was the original guy who shot Major in the head. He was super obsessive about Major being his and his alone. And he saw the premonition.
Yes.
He touched the head, and the head gave him said premonition. It looked like he was drawing on the power from the brain. Wouldn't that make him a super low functioning ESPer?
No, because the ESPer, through electrical signals when he touches it, is showing him the power, showing him the premonition. It's not that he's actually an ESPer. He's just a really deranged old man that gets his jollies off on touching dolphin brains and looking at Hyoubu like he's a piece of meat and licking his lips.
Yeah. Jeez. But okay, so let's go with a different route. Let's say perhaps somebody else were to have touched, somebody less deranged were to have touched the dolphin brain. Same outcome, you think?
I don't know. You know why? Because maybe they're not wanting to see that particular premonition. Maybe they're wanting to see something else.
So you're thinking that potentially
he wanted to see the outcome of ESPers in the future, their role in the future, and so he was showing that. And someone else wanted to see the role of the Queen of Catastrophe, and they had someone else show the premonitions for it. And so they saw that. So they did everything they could to try and prevent the Queen of Catastrophe from sinking, in effect, causing the Queen of Catastrophe to sink while having the dolphin brain stolen by the US government.
Everything boils back to that one dude who shot Major in the head. All the evil crap is happening because of him.
Circle of life.
Yeah, right. Circle of life. Yeah, circle of BS. Man. But so I do have a different trajectory from here because we could talk about that all day, I feel, but nothing would really change because we're not the writers, you know? What did you think about each individual having their own unique power, but Hyoubu or Major kind of having all of them?
I thought it was acceptable because of the level of power that he was. I mean, like, if you're gonna go with the unlimited and be the leader of said group and be all powerful, pick your flavor as to what, why not have him at least be able to do, if not be the master of all said moves, or a majority of it?
He seemed to me like a Deus Ex Machina by himself. If there was an issue, he could handle it. If there was an issue, he would somehow have the ability that was custom set for this. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I need advice from a dead man. Let me go touch his blood and project it. Congratulations. Now I have information.
Yeah, I don't even know how to respond to that or why that was a thing. But I mean, like, it wasn't even that he projected it, because the guy was able to actually have a conversation and interact with the world through ESPer abilities, through his blood.
What I think he was important for was to let us as the audience know how the brain was incorporated in the ship, because there was no real other reason for that to even be a thing. I'm kind of curious if this is only a minor part of a larger anime. You would think this was well reviewed. Like I personally review it highly, and when I was looking up as for a little bit of research, it's like a 4.5 out of 5 in most areas. So I wonder what the other anime, the parent anime, would be, and how come I didn't hear about it sooner? Because I only ever heard about this.
That's a very good question. That is a very good question. I would not be opposed to watching it in the future.
Well, let's find out how many episodes it is, because if it's like another 95 episode thing, there's no way it'll be on here anytime soon.
51 episodes long, came out in 2008 to 2009. TV Tokyo, obviously. Same deal with the genres, except it's a comedy as well.
Oh, so it probably takes a lighter approach.
Yeah, I would assume so, since it's dealing with 3 adolescent teenagers with supernatural powers.
Huh. Okay. Put a pin in that. Maybe we might revisit that later on.
Indeed. So, on a scale of 0 to 5 FAPs, sir, how would you rate this?
I think I already told you.
4.5? Just
over 4.5.
Just over. Well, what's just over? What is it? What's your hard number?
Wow. Well, my hard number, we're going to have to go with like a 4.6 because it just does that little extra
4.6.
Extra little bit you like. The reason it doesn't get a solid 5 or any higher than a 4.6 is at the end, Andy loses the coloration in his eye by essentially being Major's limiter. And they don't really explain much beyond that other than, I'll see you around. So it didn't necessarily have the closure I was expecting or hoping. But maybe because there's a larger anime it's associated with, he might be a reoccurring character over there.
That is a possibility. You never know.
So I'll say 4.6 pending.
All right. For me, I gotta go with a lower score.
Oh.
I gotta go
How
with
much lower?
Not too much lower. I gotta go with a 4.2.
Okay, explain.
4.2 simply because of the premonitions and the fact that they are causing to have happen what they are trying to prevent happening, as well as the ending.
It's an alternate world where premonitions are replaced with common sense.
And same thing with flying yachts.
I almost want to be an ESPer just so I could fly. I'm not even going to lie, because that'd be kind of awesome. That'd be just straight awesomeness right there.
All right. That would be pretty awesome. But I still can't do the flying yacht. All right. I really can't, because that's just too much. Why have a yacht that is literally flying through the air? Why not just have a plane that's perpetually powered by ESPer power? It would make it harder for them to find. It would make it more maneuverable, and you wouldn't have to worry about jack squat.
When the boat came out and jumped and essentially jumped into the air, I couldn't help but say right next to the person I was watching it with, I'm like, free Riri. Oh god. I'm like, you just need one of the people trying to catch him just to raise a hand underneath and be drenched in water.
I mean, didn't they technically do that? I mean, not be drenched in water, but didn't they just kind of reach out a little bit? I think, I'm okay with that. Whatever. I mean, you want to have a giant killer whale along with it. Let's roll with that.
Oh, seriously.
Oh, Jesus. All right. So 4.6 for you, 4.2 for me. I think that's a good place to wrap it up. And next week is my choice. And lo and behold, it is one that came out that looks like super 90s. It's one I've actually seen before, but I can't remember it because it's been 17 years since I saw it when it first came out. Came out in 2002, and it is She, the Ultimate Weapon.
Oh no. Oh, I've seen that before. I should rephrase. I haven't seen it. I've seen bits and pieces. I was like, oh, this could be, oh, hell no. Okay, so let's see how this goes.
So it's 13 episodes long. Came out in 2002, but it came out between July and September of 2002. And the genres are military, sci-fi, drama, romance, school, because why not?
Okay, that's a lot to put in. 13 episodes, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot to. Okay, let's see how they do it.
All right.
When
It'll
I
be a
first
nice
watched it, I
trip
was just,
down memory lane for me. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, when I first started watching it, I mean, definitely remember the military part of it. I just school and romance might be parts I didn't see.
Oh, you shall see, sir. You shall see. Well, that's all the time we have for today. If you have any comments, if you've seen the next episode or the next series we've seen, or if any of the other ones you've seen and you want to share a little bit of thoughts on that, feel free to reach out to us. You can reach out to us at featuredanimepodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at us at those anime guys, and we have a voicemail link in the show notes. You may even be featured on one of the upcoming episodes. Until next time, I'm Jack.
And I'm Rick.
Later.